Hey buddy, hope y'all are doing alright. So I want to talk a little bit about spiritual warfare and why I think, let me get closer to the tree. Use me for the plant on. And why I think a lot of us came here, to me it feels like a choice. If I go into my inner being, into my intuition, if I listen to my heart and who I am and why I don't fit into this place, and I put all these different things together, it does feel like a choice. I do feel like I came here not so much, it's all part of the flow, right? So like, even though I chose to come here, like my soul pattern, who I am, the energy that I emit, that I got going for me, inherently is going to take me into this direction. So like, you say a choice, but it's also just going with your flow, your good flow. Now when I say good, that in itself is also a choice, because we have free will and we can choose to go with the good flow or go with the bad flow. Or you can find yourself stagnant in the middle, not really going anywhere. You're always kind of, things are always changing, but there's levels to change and everything. So if you want to fucking grow and grow abundantly and well and strong and good, you can do that. And there's plenty of examples and, texts and people and characters and stories to help guide one to that good growth. Just as there are for bad growth, bad energy, unhealthy things. So, the choice is again, that word choice, like, if you've been pre-programmed to be a certain way, then is anything ever really a choice? And I still think that there is. I still think that even though we do have these tendencies and these, this genetic pattern that, literally determines how we look, how we talk, how we, all these things, I do think, there's an element of our own will that we can choose to reinforce, various ideas and activities or behaviors. And from these behaviors and activities, you help sculpt your spirit or your persona or your personality or your energy pattern a certain way. Pops always told me that, the Garden of Good and Evil, a lot of people talk about how God never intended the earth to be like this. And I get where they're coming from, and how corrupt humanity has become and how atrocious things are. But again, he is God, he is the Almighty, he saw the end before it began. So I think he did know things were going to get like this. How could they not? If we bit into the Garden of Good and Evil to learn about good and evil, how else do you go about learning about this shit unless you really fucking act it out, unless you really experience it, unless you really learn and grow from it? So all this evil, all this corruption, all these lies, all this bullshit, all this fakery, all this trickery is here for a reason. Now what you choose to do with that reason and what it really resonates with you is, partially a part of where your soul is at and what you resonate with, what you are able to relate to, and also where and what you want to resonate with and what you choose to relate to or want to relate to. It is a choice. Like this good energy that I talk a lot about, it's not just something I can pull out of my pocket and just have. No, it's something that takes time to acquire, it takes time to distribute, it takes time to manifest. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. Just like love. Love isn't just a word that you can say and then everything's all flowery and beautiful and good. No, it's something that takes action, it takes effort, it takes a lot of good attention in order for that love to really be love, and for you to really have that true, deep, strong affection, which I think is the literal definition of love, is just a strong affection or strong liking, and hate is just a strong dislike. But I do think that we have, been given a gift of life, and with that gift of life is the gift to choose one way or the other, left or right, to pick trash up or not to pick trash up, you know, to do something that's, you know, more in line with righteousness, or to do something that's more in line with sin, or healthiness and unhealthiness, or good and bad, light and dark, whatever you want to mismaster, up to you, whatever works for you. You know, I like to get things down to an energetic level, because it just takes away all of the BS. It takes away all of the labels and all the stereotypes that are associated with the labels. You know, people get so caught up in stories and whether they're true or not, and, you know, by having one little incorrect or, you know, seemingly incorrect or fib here and there, like, wipes the whole story out. And it's like, you can do that, but you also miss a lot of the good parts of this story that's here to help guide you and has guided many of people's throughout its existence. And if you choose to ignore it, neglect it, and throw it away because you might not agree with or think that one little thing in it isn't accurate, then that's up to you, man. You know, unconditional love is loving everything, even the stuff you don't like. So, you know, where I'm going with this video is, again, I want to talk about spiritual warfare and how this business idea I'm working on, because, you know, it needs, an infrastructure needs a way to be supplied. It needs a way to grow. It needs a way to maintain itself. It needs a way to provide for the people, and a system to keep people in line. When I say in line, I just mean so that shit gets done. Yeah, in line, so that you have your positions, you have responsibilities, you have your tasks, you have your chores. All these things need to be clearly, you know, known, and people need to, you know, take responsibility and make sure that they get done. And that takes getting in line and discipline. The military is a very highly functioning organization because they have such strong discipline, because they have such a hardcore work ethic, because they've pushed through so much of their mental and physical and spiritual barriers to get a job done. You know, it's very effective machine. I mean, they train these people up, and they send them to a task, and they get the job done. Now, unfortunately, you know, in my opinion, our military, and I've heard this from numerous veterans that tell me, like, you're good you didn't join, you're good you didn't sign up, don't do it. And I already shared with you guys how my dad felt about the military. So it's sad to know. I mean, you have to just think too, like, I have veterans who've been in the military for many years, who served their country, put their lives on the line, you were willing to die, all these things, you know. I mean, it's just, I mean, for me, if you sign that contract and you really go into the service and you do a large amount of time, like, you don't know what the fuck could happen. Even if it's just a training exercise, or a war could break out whenever, you get deployed somewhere, you have no idea. So you are, to a much larger extent than the normal person, choosing to put your life on the line, you know. And then some people may do it for their country and their citizens, and some may just do it because they get off on the adrenaline of, you know, and they have a death wish, and some may just do it because it's a way out of their current position in life. But whatever the case may be, that choice does inherently come with a lot of dangers that normal jobs, quote unquote normal jobs, don't have. You know, and it's sad, to me this is sad, that they feed off of people's desire for that type of adventure and adrenaline rush. And I'll just be honest too, like, I met one guy, he's since passed, but he told me he joined the army because he wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody. You know, and it's like, how many people join for that reason, and then they get a taste for it, and then they come back with that fucking taintness that comes from wanting to commit murder. You know, and it's like, they get these boys in at 18 years old before they are even allowed to drink alcohol. It's like, right there, that's a giant fucking, like, hey, you know, okay, you're not wise enough and responsible enough to drink alcohol, you know, but we're going to give you a gun, and we're going to teach you how to kill, and we're going to give you some grenades, and, you know, you're going to have a team, and you're going to be in an area where other people are trying to kill you, but it's okay. You know, you're 18, you got that number, you're fucking, you know, you got a little bit of whatever, you know, you're allowed to go and kill people now and get killed yourself, you know. You think about it, it's really just the age that the man is, you know, he's not even fully grown. I don't even think men are fully grown at 18. I think it takes way later. Some studies even say not until your 30s until you're fully grown as a man. But they allow men to enter the military at the age of 18. I think that's largely due because they want to get people when they're young. They want to entice them into that type of a fucking way of living, because they know that there's a part of us that does have that desire to want to fight, to want to kill. And based on the programming of our society today, with all the violent video games, with all the violence you see in the news, with all the just the competition and the ego and the fucking, you know, I gotta one up this dude and one up this dude, or just being in a desperate situation and having no way. I mean, there's many different ways they bait you, and then you get hooked into their fucking program, and now you're on their wheel, you're on their tether. They can fucking push you wherever the fuck they want to push you, and if you go against their ways, then you become AWOL, and it looks bad in your record, and even perhaps jail time. And there's a lot of things that go into the repercussions of not following through with your contract, because it is a contract you sign for service. You know, they give you, my brother, like, he, you know, attempted, well, he didn't attempt, he did join the Navy, but he got out right before, like, right at the last minute, essentially. He had done, like, everything he had to do, went through basic, did all the tests, you know, did all these things, got shots up the wazoo. They even wanted him to be, like, a leader to help out other younger kids. You know, I call them kids because, I mean, that's, you know, like I said, I don't think you're fully grown when you're 18 at all. But yeah, at the last moment when he was really about to be shipped off to his deployment and start his, you know, really start his career in the Navy, getting through boot camp and all that, he decided not to. Which I'm glad, because, you know, just with the escalation of the world today, and it's just like what he's fighting for isn't good, isn't righteous. And again, as I've said, I've had numerous veterans talk to me about how messed up the military is and how messed up the government is, and how they're literally telling me that it's good you didn't join. You know, I mean, that says a lot about our country. When our own military, our own people that have served for our country and our supposedly our freedom and all this and that, like good-hearted people too. Like, you guys didn't see them, but I was there. I got to talk with them. These are good dudes, man. The type of dudes that I feel, you know, I don't know them, but I feel like I could grow to trust, you know, with my life. Seriously. You know, and they're telling me really, really, really bad, heinous things about the military. Okay, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, they've gotten a privy to a little bit of a view of how things work on the inner, you know, circle of shit that we don't even know because we're not military. You know, those of you who are know. You know, and as you advance in technologies and other careers and, you know, studies and stuff like that, you gain more access to those fields. But, you know, the military is a weapon that is used to destroy and pillage and, you know, I mean, they do some horrendous stuff, you know, and because it has so much power, because we put so much money into it, because we're being controlled by, my opinion, a wicked, you know, entity or you know, organization of entities, they're going to use the military to push the fear, to push the destruction, to push the chaos as much as they can. And they're going to want our young men and women to be as in line with their wicked agenda as much as they can. So to me, it makes perfect sense that those with a really good heart that have served in the military, that have seen some shit, that have been through the whole thing, come out and telling young men like myself not to join. You know, and it's not because it's because they know it's not doing any good. It's that things have gotten that serious, things have gotten that corrupt. I mean, it's been that way for a while, and a lot of you all already know this shit. But again, you know, I'm talking about spiritual warfare, so it's like, you know, this is a battle. There is a war going on. There is an enemy, there is an opponent that wants to see your demise, that wants to see you weaker, that wants to see you destroy yourself and others around you. This is not an accident. These things aren't just happening out of nowhere. There is a legitimate force that is pushing people to be evil. Okay? And the sad thing is we, you know, speaking about Americans here, but it's all over the world in my opinion, it's being largely perpetuated by us and the jobs that we do, the choices we make, the rituals we perform each and every day, the taxes we pay, yes. Now, we're going to still have to, you know, with this business idea I have and all that, we're still going to have to pay taxes and follow the rules and the laws and all this and that. But as we grow, as the more hemp we produce, the more food we produce, the more self-sustainable we become, the less dependent on their ways of doing things we are going to be. The more prepared we're going to be when the time comes when this infrastructure is shut down and no longer operating. Because I think that's where it's going to go. The New World Order's agenda is to create chaos and come in as the saviors. So they want all this destruction. They want all this supply chain issues. They want all people sick and afraid and not wanting to communicate and touch each other and be in relationships anymore. They want all of that because it's going to make us even more unhappy. It's going to make us more frazzled up. It's going to make us more afraid. It's going to make us more desperate. It's going to make us more emotional in the bad way, in the unhealthy way, in the destructive way, which perpetuates their agenda of chaos. And then when things get to that tipping point to whatever they feel it is, then when they think, when things are that bad and that, people are that desperate for a way out, they'll provide one. But it's their way out, and it's going to come with a lot of attachments. And the thing about it is, too, it's fucked up because since we've perpetuated this whole situation, largely, it's because of us, because there's so many of us here. In a lot of ways, if it gets to that point, they're going to have these type of like slave-like lifestyles for us because we've proven to ourselves and the ethers and everything else, the animals, the trees, all that we can't take care of our shit, that we can't even love ourselves and each other, that we can't figure out a solution to these problems. So that's why it's imperative that we need to start developing businesses like this. We need to start coming together. We need to start building a new infrastructure. We need to detach from that which no longer serves us, which is this government, which is this military. People in the military, they have contracts. They've got, I don't know how it all goes, but do your time and get out and take your skills and use those skills for good things. Guerrilla warfare may be a huge fucking thing we got to start learning. And it's very effective if done the right way. You can do a lot of, defensiveness, cutting off enemy supply chains, strategically targeting their generator centers so they can't continue to perpetuate evil. Things like that can really help slow things down when they come after us. Because I think they're going to have to. We're their prey. They're the predator. It's a fucking game. So they're going to do what predators do, and they fucking hunt. So this is why we need to, start just pushing more creativity, more love, more good videos, more expressions of the heart. Don't repress your emotions. Let them out. Let them be heard. I've already said I'd love to see more YouTubers who are just speaking about how they feel is going on. They want you bottled up. They want you closed in. They want you afraid to speak your emotions and to share how you truly feel, because they ain't about the truth. They're about that false shit. They know their truth and they got their truth, and part of their truth is creating lies for us to fucking latch onto and absorb. So you counter that by fucking throwing your truth out into the universe, throwing it out into the ethers. Let them know how you feel, but don't do it in some destructive way that goes and gets yourself and others hurt. Just do it in a way that lets that out, gets it out of you, leaves room, leaves space for something different, something beautiful, something good to grow. That's what's good right now. That's what's going to be healthy. And then you start speaking that, and you might encourage somebody else to speak, or you might meet somebody that you didn't know before, and y'all can have a good conversation. Y'all can start collaborating. Y'all can start networking. Things can happen really quick. The domino effect. It can be. There's a lot of bad talk about the domino effect and communism and this and that. Well, the same is true for the good side. You get that one domino fucking rolling, it's just going to keep on hitting the other dominoes that are good and growing too. And then you all got yourself some momentum. And now with that momentum, we can, use that emotional, that motivation, that momentum, that perpetuation to start building something of our own. Something that's truly worthy of our service, something that's truly worthy of somebody dying for. Not this sick military, not this sick government, not these wicked people. It's not worth it. It's not good. It's not doing anybody any good. In fact, it's doing the opposite of all that. So just, I'm just encouraging you guys to just, speak your words if you have them. If you've got good ideas that are good for the earth and good for humanity, spread them, work on them, send them to investors. Don't be afraid of you not having any money or your situation in life. If you've got a good idea, share it. If you've got some good words to say, speak them. If you've got some good things to do, do them. Now is the time. We need to step up. And spiritual warfare isn't as much about, martial arts and combat as you might think. It's really about doing righteous deeds. And then you get the power along with the righteous deeds. Martial arts and fighting and all that shit's really easy. It takes time to learn like anything, but again, choosing to pick up another's trash, little things like that build, and they grow, and they accumulate, and you acquire more knowledge, you acquire more good connection to God, to Mother Nature, to the Holy Spirit, the more of these things you do. Okay, and who's got your back than the Holy Spirit and God? So if you're in God's favor, Nobody can fuck you up. Nobody's going to beat you in a fight unless you step out of that righteous line, and then it's your own fault. God's not going to get your back if you're doing wicked things. He's only going to get your back if you're truly being righteous. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it really is the best weapon. Love is the best weapon. It's the best investment. It's the best thing we have here. And God is love. So God is the answer. The Word is God's Son sent here to teach us how to love ourselves and one another. This is why it's called putting on the armor of God. Is walking in His way. Is walking in His wisdom, in His mouth, His words, His speech. This is how He is a creator. This is how He mastered good and evil. He's giving us the blueprints of these things. But we had to go through all this. We had to witness all this. We had to be a part of all this. We had to be the characters that He made us to be, but also while having the free choice to do what we want to do with our will. Knowing full well that He sent His Son here as the guideline for those whose will wants to be along in that guideline. You know, it's there for you. And just as the devil's got his own fucking textbooks and spells and minions and influencers, so does God. All over the place. You know? So just like good company, being around good people. Like, what's more important to you? Is it the people you're around, or is it the amount of money you have in your bank account? You know, money does not breed happiness. Happiness, true joy, true love comes from God and your good connection with God and creation. You know, and then from that, you know, what is that word? I want to say jubilant. Is that the word? You know, that type of energy, like, it's contagious. People like to be around you, and the more people that you have around you that are like that, the more it's just going to overall, you know, affect and grow in the area and change the soil, the earth, the plants. Everything feels that. Everything resonates that. Everything will help reverberate that. So the more we're about that, the better off we are, the better our defenses are, the better our power is, the better we are able to turn the cheek when evil comes at us, the better we're able to grow good hemp and crops to help feed ourselves and starving children. The better we are going to be prepared to fight, you know, demons when it comes time to go into these sex trafficking rings and infiltrate them and free these captives. A lot of them are kids, man. It's sick. There's some really sick shit going on. And again, the military sucks a lot of warriors into their system by providing them that opportunity for adrenaline rushes, for the opportunity to kill somebody and not have to go to jail, for that opportunity to be a badass. You know, but the problem is that it's perpetuating an evil empire. So it's not actually good. You know, but it doesn't mean we have to continue doing it. We can create our own militia. We can have our own military of God under His word. All right? So I love you guys. I hope you all doing well, and I'm going to hit you back with some more videos soon, all right? Bye.